Yes.
In first GT, I'll give you all two topics, and we have to mutually decide on which topic we will have discussion, and we need to come with conclusion also in the first GT. And in the second GT, there will be only one topic, and we have to discuss on that itself, and it is not mandatory to come to the conclusion. So you
I have
can
a doubt here, Shweta.
yes.
Yeah, and in the SSB, we don't have to come to a conclusion na, in GD. So how come this time?
See, I have said this because what happens sometimes we start speaking and automatically comes to a conclusion, right? They say don't come to conclusion, but sometimes if like your and everybody's opinion is same, then conclusion comes. So in that sense, I'm saying if it is coming, then it's okay. Otherwise, we don't have to come to a conclusion.
Okay, okay, great.
So I'll yes, whatever GTO says. So the topics are for first GT. Death penalties had been removed by some countries recently. If it should be continued, then why? A. Deterrence. B. Public opinion. C. Complete justice. I repeat, death penalties had been removed by some countries recently. It should be continued. If it should be continued, then why? A. Deterrence. B. Public opinion. C. Complete justice. And the second topic is why Russia-Ukraine war is still going on. A. NATO support. B. Ukraine mindset. C. Russian failure. I repeat, why Russia-Ukraine war is still going on. A. NATO support. B. Ukraine mindset. C. Russian failure. So we all have to mutually agree with one topic and start the discussion.
Friends, I think we can go ahead with the Russia-Ukraine, at least currently.
In my opinion, also second topic will be much influential as we are
Yeah.
discussing.
Second topic.
Okay,
Second
So
topic.
I
we can
agree
start
with
with the
this.
topic two, the Russia-Ukraine war.
Okay, so according to me, Russia-Ukraine war is still going on because of NATO's support and the entire European countries who are giving weapons and other military aid to Ukraine. Because we are seeing currently the situation of Ukraine, it's completely broken.
I think the
Yeah,
ongoing issue and the tussle that's going on is primarily because of NATO support only. Because if we are seeing Russia's arsenal, which is much bigger than Ukraine's, and if the Ukrainian were to fight alone, they would have just been entirely decimated within a week only. So the NATO support is giving them the edge in the current war.
yeah, I agree with the Rohit and what Shweta said. It is due to the NATO support. The reason behind it is that if you look now, the China is the growing economy in the world, and America was second, and Russia was almost third or fourth. The plan of NATO and America was to pull down Russia from economic growth. So due to this war, now Russia came 10 years behind, by which American and other NATO countries can grow more.
I would like to add a point by saying that we have the we know that Russia has the biggest arsenal and one of the most top leading countering the US one. We can see that in the war when we had, so the Russian tanks were having an edge over the Ukraine forces, and then came in the scene the Stinger missile that was given to Ukraine by the NATO forces, so that a good amount of tank of the Russian can be destroyed and they can be pushed backward to their area.
Few
Adding to
months
that,
back,
the other thing
US
is
has
the
announced
drones
that
that
they
NATO
have given
supported were
$33
pretty much
billion
successful.
of military aid
Apart
to
from NATO,
Ukraine.
we can
If
see individual support from countries like Germany and Belgium, which is much added to the support of the Ukraine. For example, Panzer tanks has been supported by the Germany. Then various other nations also supported monetary help as well in terms of Russia-Ukraine war.
Yeah, not
Also,
only
Yeah,
few
monetary
months
according to
support, I
back,
would like to add up
USA
one
has
point
according
over
to me,
here.
announced
Rohit,
that it
one,
has
I
given
think that
33 billion
as
dollars of military
economically,
aid to Ukraine. So,
as
if we
Russia
go
has
to the
been
technically, it is not a kind of aid or some donation, but they are getting Ukraine's steel in return, and also they are getting benefit from the Ukraine's wheat. So, this way, earlier Ukraine was the main lead to export wheat and other crops like soybean to entire Europe. But now, with the I mean, giving by giving support to Ukraine and making it completely broken, now US will emerge as the main lead to uh, be the leader in terms of giving wheat and other farming related things, and also their steel manufacturing companies which are completely broken. I mean, the USA's company, they are also getting benefit from having Ukraine steel.
I would
Yeah,
like
I
to
would like to add up
And
one
we
thing
can
Shweta,
see
saying
that the
that
Russia
that
has
NATO
stopped
is
it
not
because
only
the
providing
Nord
support in
line which
terms
is
of
been
monetary
passing through
and
the
also not in terms of
Russia is
arsenal, but
passed through the
also in
Ukraine.
terms of
although
tactics and
the USA
manpower.
emerges a largest weapon supplier in the war, so it has benefited US economy. I would like to honor Shweta point
Gentlemen,
apart
although
from the
Russia
Indian agriculture.
yes, gentlemen, although Russia having a good manufacture of arms, but the peoples in the Russia are not supporting the arm, like they are not in favor of the war. That is one of the reason that still the war is going on. And talking to Ukraine point of view, like Ukraine is getting this more weapon supplies from the NATO countries. So he's like it is also one of benefits for the Ukraine. That's it. Like, still
I totally agree with Sachin's point of view and Rohit and Shweta's that it is not only the monetary and or not only the the arsenal support, but also the tactical support and the skills that the US and the other NATO countries have. We have seen that not only these kind of things, but also the special forces, they are also acting on the Ukraine ground, though they are not fighting face to face, but they are providing tactical support and the skillful things that they have, like the knowledge about the how the Russia
The
army
training is
operates and
actually
all
being
these kind of
imparted
things.
by the SF units there, so that
Yeah,
is being
exactly.
actually much
So
helpful.
this is how NATO is providing support to the Ukraine, so so that they can have a heavy fire upon on the Russian side.
Although the neighboring countries like Western countries are providing weapons, so they require the hold regarding in that near the Ukraine, so that the Russia doesn't overtakes the Ukraine. And you can see that the it has been come over 10 years down, so Russia never wants to pull back now. So it has to, according to them, they will keep their war in forward, because they don't want that the lose losing side from the Russia. So even though the weapons are being supplied from the Ukraine, they are still deploying their army near the Russian borders, and they're still the war has been not yet over, because the
I
Russia has been
think
not
the
giving up.
In my
I think
opinion,
war has
it is
reached
the
such a
biggest
point
strategic
where
failure of Russia.
all the
As with
sides are
as a
actually
country
now
like
saving
Russia,
their faces only. All the sides are actually now saving their faces only. Because it's been like 1 year of war, and we still see that the war is continuing, even though there are major losses from both the sides. And if we see from Russia's sides, they have a major face to save. And at the same time, if we see from NATO sides, which is the basically the European or the Western bloc that we see, they can't afford to lose right now, and neither can Russia.
Agreeing
So I
with
think
this,
that is the major
yes.
tussle that's going
Agreeing
on.
with
I
this, I
agree
would
fully
like
to
to
this.
add one
There
more
has been
important
failure.
point that the USA's thinking and the entire NATO's thinking is based on Cold War era. That means they want to maintain their dominance and suppress somebody's dominance or aggression. So this time they want to suppress Russia, and for that reason also they are not giving new weapons. They are giving two kind of weapons. Either it is old weapons like the list which got released, it has weapon which belong to Vietnam war. So that is too old. So they are just utilizing their stockpile or the reserve so that they don't have to pay for its stock, and then it's disposable or recycling. And also either or they are giving weapons which they want to test in order to get that A++ rating to export to other countries to increase their
Yeah,
uh,
I would like to
Adding
add
to
Adding
one
to
defense
that,
Shweta's
point.
point,
export.
I would
Shweta,
also
As
like
you
to
said,
I like
include
to
Rohit,
add
that
that
US
the
is not
the
only
there is
giving these
also
Americans
kind of
one
and the
like
weapons,
Western
US is
but
countries
not
are
also
trying
they
to
are giving
dominate near
short
the
range
concentrated
weapons. We have
precisely as
see
near
you
the
that
said
they
areas
are
earlier.
only giving the countering
areas near
weapon,
the
not the weapon that is having long range. They are just giving the weapon that will defend them from the upcoming forces that the Russia is coming on.
and we
and
can
add.
see that
And
they are been
I like
deploying
to add upon
they
some
are
of
been
points.
giving the many weapons to the Ukraine because they want dominance near the Black Sea. Also we can see that if any aircraft flies near the Black Sea, their under control is in the Russians hand, and they want near the cities like the sea near the Black Sea also under control of the Americans and other Western states. So they are been providing weapons to the so that they are also providing UAV and the what is called
And friends, the another
Drones
reason
or other
for NATO
military equipment that are there.
if we speak about the Russian natural gas which is going through Europe, it is by either by the Baltic Sea or by the Black Sea. The at that region, the NATO wants to get control on themselves, by which they can dominate Russia economically, which is known as the warm water policy. Because in cold days, the Baltic Sea is the only sea which never get uh, which is means which never gets isolated.
I would
I
like
think
to add a
uh,
point
I
by
think
US is
the
saying
NATO
that
support
US will
has
it's
not be
actually
enough
added much
dominance on the
value to
Middle
the
East
current
area,
war.
as they are losing the
As
dominance
in
in the Middle East
as in the
area.
Ukrainian
The US
side, we
is
can
starting
see
a
that
tactical
they
war
are
between the Russia and
gaining
Ukraine
the
front.
advantage.
So that got at least in the
See,
Middle
even
East.
though the war is happening, if we see that the dominance of the Americas in near the if they are been supporting to the Ukraine, we can see if Russia doesn't goes by because it has the support of the countries like China also, and even though it requires it has a huge manufacturing regarding the weaponized system also, so it is not even moving because it has dominant toward the world that they have been producing different types of machineries, mechanisms, and aircraft. So it doesn't want that the world thinks that Russia had pulled back, seeing the fear of the Western countries like American. So the it automatically says that the American dominance is there in the world. So it means still in the race to not to get back from that position.
Yeah,
see. I
that
would
is the
like to
I
add a
point I
point
would
by
like
I
to
saying
add
think
that
up,
it's
why
Gaurav.
NATO
Like
is
I think
America's
it's
for the
hegemony in the
NATO
it's
is in the
lesser
war by
about the
Asia
world
protecting
and Middle
Ukraine.
dominance
It's
East
because
and
and
more
because
about the
of
And
military
it
Russia's
also
dominance.
affects
expansion
that when the
Because
kind
policy.
of
NATO
that America is
country
putting
starts,
like most of its
if the
because
assets
the
in
Ukraine
Russia
Russian
start,
side,
so that it can
the
support
Russian
its hegemony
side and the
and
Russian
dominance.
diplomats that they
But
are, they are
instead,
looking more towards
instead of
Europe
that
only,
cases,
and
America
they
is
are having a Europe-centric view. So what they want is that they want Europe to be on their arms, but then on the
yeah,
other
yeah,
side, US what it wants its bases in Europe to be protected,
yeah, yeah,
and so that it can further support other military ventures that it has in Europe. Now, if we see the tussles that are going on, we can see the major cities that come in picture are Bakhmut, which is now a Russian captured area, and Kherson, which is now a Ukrainian captured area. Now, if we see what's going on, Kherson has recently been captured by the Ukrainian forces, what with the help of the NATO forces only. And Bakhmut, which is actually a very populous part of Ukraine, has been captured by the Russian forces. Now, if we draw a comparison, we can understand what's going on. And recently, Wagner Group also put its feet in the picture, and that has actually added more tussle
In
what's ongoing
addition
with the
with
NATO
this,
support.
yes, in addition with this, NATO and its leader US always wanted to weaken Russia from economic and military front. If
yeah,
we
yeah,
see from economic front, then if China will not give financial aid to Russia, it is already getting weak. I mean the Russia, and also from military front, we can see the kind of internal issues recently happened from their private military organization. So it indicates that there is internal issue there on that side also.
and
So
adding
somewhere
point
I
NATO
would
to
is getting
yeah, yeah,
successful what they wanted to
I
do.
would like to add a point by
adding
I
saying
point
would
to
that
like to
why
add
the
upon
Shweta is
countries
that
are
Shweta like
joining the NATO.
if
It is
Ukraine
because of the Russia's expansion
takes part as
policies.
a
That's why
NATO, then
the
all neighboring
countries don't
countries
want to
regarding
we
the
can't
Russia
ignore
also
the
takes
give their land to the Russian.
both
That
the
is
charge
one
points
of
of
the
the
like
point
NATO,
why
like
and it
Ukraine
will
NATO
be
want to
versus
start
surrounded by the
Europe.
because Ukraine
Western
We can't
is
dominance.
ignore
not.
that Russia is also important for the balance in the world. Like if we give
Kuldip, I
the
need to one point like
single side to US, it will create a monopoly. So Russia is important for the bipolar world.
See,
yeah,
if
Friends, if we
I
just
think
the
actually
Ukraine
look into the
takes
uh,
out the
it
NATO,
is a part of the
it
USSR earlier, but the Russian again want like to complete the USSR like as it was earlier because like
yeah,
Ukraine was part of the USSR.
yes.
Yeah, I would like to add point
After
on Sachin that
1991, it has been split
the
into
Russia
many
is
different states,
working on the expansion
countries.
policies like the China itself. That's why the country are joining the NATO so that they can
Sagar, I
upheld
would like
and
to add upon
adding
like
to
Russia is not
adding to
working as a expansion policy.
No,
It's
actually,
No, it
India
India
wasn't
is
tried to
working
actually an
as
apply
an
expansion policy. I would
expansion
like
also
policy.
to tell
Russia
you
want
one
that.
that why
So
Ukraine,
there was the expansion policy.
why
In the
Ukraine had a war
2014,
with
they
Russia. It was
challenged
because
or
the
given
Russian
advice
was
to
about to
Ukraine.
capture the Ukrainian area, so that so just to protect itself. So Ukraine was about to join the NATO. Like the we have the good example of Finland and Sweden that joined the
Yes.
NATO just because of the fear, because the Russia was about to capture their land.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
in the
Actually,
Yeah,
we
you
are
can
a
say
Ukraine
that
only
war,
if
country
if
Russia
the
that
has been
Ukraine
advised
joins
in
the
to Ukraine
NATO,
in our
the
talk
other
we are only
neighboring countries
considering
which
the
are
war
present near
impact of
the
it.
Russia,
But
war.
we
and it
should
will
see
be seen that
the other
whole
impact that it has. For
the
example,
half
it
of
has
the
a
border
social
of the
effect,
Russia has
it
been
has a
covered. If
political effect, and it has an economic effect. For example, the entire war that has been happening has put the entire world economy into shambles. What we see currently. Apart from that, there is a social factor which basically differentiates the entire population into two parts. One is a pro-Ukrainian, the other one is a pro-Russian. And if we see political effect, we can already
Uh,
see that the world is actually going into three terms:
Gentlemen, I have also one point to
pro-Ukrainian
add
and
on.
the pro-Russian and the
if a country goes
middle
into
block.
NATO, yeah, if a country
We
goes
can't
into
ignore the
NATO, the deployment
contribution
of
of
the
Russia and
different
Middle East.
countries'
Like
armies
Iran
also
is
can be
getting its
seen in the
developments in
countries.
Moscow
Like
missiles
if
and
a
all.
country takes part as a NATO, like Russia, if the neighboring countries takes into as a NATO part, then the different countries' army will be deployed in that country for sake of protection from the Russia, and Russia gets into trouble for such situation that if the neighboring countries are the NATO countries, then its dominance would be less, as the it being the
region.
USSR, it has a
Yeah,
before
I
in
would
the
like to
90s,
Yeah,
it
add
has
on
just
the
been
adding
beyond that.
Gautam's point,
That is the
like
main issue. Like Russia doesn't want the NATO
Yeah,
in its
getting
zones. They have
and
advised
NATO
Ukraine
countries
in 2014 only that they
being the
join the
USSR,
NATO.
it has
But still,
before
not even
huge dominance in the 90s.
the annexation
American
of Crimea is the main issue of the
like
Ukraine's
Ukraine, by which
policy
they
of
can
joining NATO. That is the main issue. And there is also one of the papers recently published or leaked. Get in they mentioned like Russia's contribution in Iran and Iraq is very much like Wagner Group is mostly operating in Middle East and US. So in the just behind the bars, or you can say tactically, America want to keep the Russia apart from the Middle East. So they wanted like disturb itself area in the Russia and Ukraine war, so that they doesn't get involved with the Middle East area.
I
If I
think
say
Ukraine
majorly,
is
like
completely
Exactly what
in
broken.
Suraj
Afghanistan,
said.
the
The
American
war is just
deployment of
not
army in the Afghanistan has been
Russia
seen.
has been
If such kind
Middle
of
East has been always
NATO
the interest of
country
USA.
takes part in a NATO,
yes.
then the deployment of the foreign countries will be there, and if the foreign country deployment is there, of course there will be armaments, machineries will be taken, and it will be surrounded from a certain place. If the Russia tried to invade any other country, being a Russian country, being a NATO part, the other many countries will try to counterattack them. So it has only China as their partner. Being a
So war
entire
is just
Western,
not happening in the Russia Ukraine. It is also happening in the Middle East, as Suraj has actually said, where US and Russia are actually on the opposite sides. If we just look into it in terms of power, as Wagner Group is operating there and
yeah, yeah.
USP are also working there. So if we look into that, look at the Russia-Ukraine war from that perspective, we'll understand where the power, I would say, tussle is going on. It is not in terms of it is not in Black Sea right now. Even if it is at the same time, it is also in the Middle Eastern part
There,
where
yeah, I would
the
like to
real
add to it.
oil rise, and that is
The whole
what
tussle is
US is concerned
Even
with.
though
it's not about Russia and Ukraine
the
only.
economic
The whole
downfall
tussle
of the
about
Russia,
Central Asia and the Middle East. So it's not the
Russia
small
wants to
part.
hold
Like
its
the
power
most
in the Black
strategic,
Sea
most
and
talented
doesn't want
trading force
another
from there.
countries. As we can
Also,
see the
currently,
The Central Asia and the Middle East region.
Ukraine needs fund even to run its basic infrastructure system. So this incident is a big lesson. Recently, NATO has offered membership even to India to deal with China and to suppress their dominance here in this region. So this incident is a lesson not just for India but for entire world. Why we should not let any other country or any alliance interfere in our internal matters. So this is very important for India, how they're gonna
and
diplomatically deal with the offer and the kind of issues which we are having with China as well.
Yeah, I would like to
adding a
add on
point that
Shweta, like as
one
NATO
point
was
like
formed for the operations of and defense of
Russia has
North
a
Atlantic region, but
Russia is a
I
hub
think
of
NATO
natural
currently,
doesn't
gas,
have to do
and
with
it supplies
anything
currently,
natural
because
gas
as
to
it's
the
Shweta
it's
Western
the
said,
land
states.
of country
for
in the
Yeah.
Central
countries to
Asia part.
join NATO, the bigger countries actually do not need to join NATO right now. Only the smaller countries like that of Finland recently joined, Sweden recently joined. They're economically they're powerful, but at the same time military they're very weak. So India, I don't think India needs to actually join the NATO forces because we are a military growing power. and at the same time we're economically growing as
Yeah,
well.
I would like to add
Yeah,
on
Friends,
this
I
point.
would
Like, if
like to
we
say
join
that
NATO,
we are going off
if
the
we invite
topic.
NATO
The
to
topic
operate in
was like,
Indo-Pacific, which is the biggest blunder of
Yeah,
India.
but actually, Sagar, it is very much related. If we see in terms of global diplomatics that is going on.
And why
We
adding
have
a
like
new
so much
point, I
supplies
just
for
want
the
to tell that
world. We can't be a single pole in
apart from
global
the
society. We
defense
have a bipolar
perspective,
society so that we
the
can't
main
get
thing,
much of dependence
so
on
to
the
be in a
USA.
safer side and
If the dollar is
to see in the future, so Ukraine joined to NATO, because in the future anything will happen. So to prepare for future, so he want to join NATO, like, so that because in during the wartime NATO countries will support him. But why Russia don't want to why don't want this supporting the NATO? Because Ukraine is a side is a neighbor country of the Russia. Because if any country don't want to sit in any behind in front of their head, so it's that's why they are ignoring. They are not letting him.
adding point to
I
Sachin,
think
I
Secondly, I
want to
would
the
like
tell
to
that
add this point.
philosophical and
Ukraine
agenda
is
that is
subjective.
being
As
pursued
we
by
know
the
that
NATO
USA
forces
has
see
signed an
and the
NPT.
motto
They
that
have
is
like
the
that is
Russia Ukraine
given
war
by
has been
them,
still
national
going
it
on
is
because
basically that
the another in
it's
the another
basically showing as
perspective I
that
can see that the
we are the good forces
Russia
and we are
being
fighting against the evil, or basically the
being
Russians.
forces.
Whosoever
And
joins us
another
are the
reason
goods, and
Ukraine
whosoever
joined NATO forces
objects to us are the bads. And
the
I think that is the philosophical agenda of the entire war that is going on. So I think
another
that is
point
what
I
they are
just
I
trying
would
to
want
like
to
to add
add
pursue.
up
is
on to
that
it. Like,
being
it's not about just Ukraine. It's the most about like after the purification or the collapse of USSR, Ukraine has the nuclear weapons, but they signed the NPT on the US advice like they don't doesn't want they will not use or have surrendered their nuclear weapons. So that is the plunder. Like US has
along with the
given them
Suraj,
the
I
advice
like to
to
add that
protect them. So it's not about
being
it's about strategies and
as a Ukraine, we can see
basically
it's taking part of the NATO. Along with that, the Russia being the hub of the gas is natural gases, and it provides natural gas to the other Western countries. If we see the gas pipeline passes through the Ukraine, and Ukraine charges a huge tax regarding the gases which passes through the from the Ukraine to the Western states, and so it might be the another reasons that the war has been still ongoing.
they can put by Belarus also. That is not in my concern will be the issue.
The
Pipeline
nerd
can pass
pipeline which
through Belarus.
passes to the Black Sea also has been yeah, blasted. Blasted means it has been taken as injured.
The most of the war is about the trade dominance. Like you know that the Central Asia and like
Yes,
Middle
the
East has been
most of the
the
war
connection
gives
between
in
the
Also
goes
has
in
a
superpowers.
perspective as
it
a
also
defense
has a
or
philosophical
also trade,
dominance as well.
as the
I
most
think
of
it
the
also has a
Basically,
philosophical
who
dominance
has
as well.
dominance on the trade
economic
on Central Asia will
dependent
be
on the
the
natural gases and
Okay, I think we have reached the end of the
Yes,
discussion.
the discussion going on since 20 minutes. So I think we all have came to a conclusion quite naturally by stating that it's NATO who's giving support to Ukraine. It was really a nice discussion. I got to know about some other perspective as well. Let's go with the second GD. Are you all ready?
Friends, I would like to add one point.
Yes,
Like
yes,
this
sure.
is what I think that NATO is not actually directly, giving any support to the war. It is the member countries that are
it
giving. So
Yes.
providing
effectively,
machineries, I think just
yeah. So effectively, if we say NATO, it is incorrect. It would be the NATO member countries that are giving.
Yes.
Yeah, I
It
would
is
like
not
to
a
add one
part of
more point
NATO's
in the
payload.
last
NATO
before ending
members.
this GD. Like as we told that the most of the weapon supplies by the US, they are not using their main arsenal. Like they are not giving the F-18 or the F-22. They are in the fear of that. Like if they are shot down by the Russia, their market image will go down. Like Su-30 and all the advanced versions Su-57. If they tactically come in the war and Russia and they got shot down the F-18 and F-22, then the US basically main market as like a US is the biggest supplier of the weapons in the world. So their market will go down and their image will also tarnish. So I would like that point also.
But Suraj, F-22 is not made for trade purpose. It is just to secure USA.
So F-18 was not also not deployed in that war. That's the issue. US doesn't want to give its main weapons to Ukraine.
Yeah, not to Ukraine, but to other countries also.
Yeah.
And it also is a more of an ideological warfare that is going on in
Yes.
today's
The,
age.
every war is ideologically and the trade for
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. We'll keep on talking about ideology, but then
okay.
the US
Let's
is
move
still on the
on now to
market.
next topic.
So are you all ready for the second GD topic? Only one topic I'll give for this.
Yeah, yeah.
So marriage system is no more stable in India due to A. independence of women, B, patriarchal society, C, family system. Marriage system is no more stable in India due to A, independence of women, B, patriarchal society, C, family system. You can start
What's the
your
last one?
discussion.
What's the last one?
Family system.
Family system.
See, first option is independence of women, patriarchy. Third is family system.
Repeat the topic, please. The marriage system is not dependent on.
Marriage
Yeah,
system
marriage.
is no more stable in India due to independence of women,
Okay, got it.
patriarchy, or family system. You all can say.
So according to my point of view, it's like independent because of the independent because uh, mm, sorry.
I think it's
I would like
because
to add
of
upon
marriage
Sachin
currently in
as
India is not stable because of family system. Earlier there were
Family
joint,
system,
there
yes.
used to be joint family. Now people are preferring nuclear families for having their own independence, and because of that there is no pressure on couples to stay in marriage even if it is getting toxic. So they are staying in nuclear
In
family.
adding
They
point,
take their own decision to enjoy their own independence.
yeah, I
adding
would
point
like
to
to add upon
Shweta,
Shweta as like
that
Western
family
I think
countries
system,
it's
also
more
being
about
a
promote
working
patriarchy
patriarchy.
woman
over
and
that
a working
because
Like
person,
in Western ideology,
male
has
and
been much
female wants
focused on the
their,
intelligence.
if a newly married couple who has been working, both have been working, they want a space for, they don't want a child for after marriage quickly, but the family pressure has been there that we want a child. So they see that after a few years they means they want a child after 3 4 years, but the family doesn't accept such things, and the marriage doesn't last for too long.
I think in
So
today's days,
I
we
would
can
like to
see
add
more
up
and
like
more
most of the
women are
states are.
wanting to work. So that's where a new mindset comes in, and that has been very much distant from what
as
our
we can
Indian
see,
culture is.
most of the
And I
states
think
in India
patriarchy
has
is
been
actually the
educated now, and the
patriarchy is one of the main causes for the destabilization of these marriages because girls have this mindset that they want to work, but at the same time the family line says that girls are not should not be working and all. So I think that's where the line grows up.
I
Earlier
would like to
PIHU
add a point
research
by saying
happened. They
that
have
it is
conducted a
the
survey in
independence
USA and
of
also
women
in
that is
India.
now the marriages are not that successful, is because the women are now they are getting more opportunities, they are exploring more, so they don't want to get into marriage at very soon age. As we know that the minimum age for women getting married is 18, whereas a male is 21. So earlier people women used to get married at a very younger age, so they were not able to get to explore activities, as because first of all they are getting married into a very young age, then they would be having children, they have to look after the children, after children they have to look after the elder ones, so they would be involved in these kind of activities only. But now when the women are independent, they are exploring new things, they are getting educated, they are getting job opportunities and different kind of things where they can invest their time more, so they are like focusing on themselves rather than getting married and doing other stuff.
Few years
Yeah,
back,
I
PIHU
would like to
Research
add upon
has
So
Am's
conducted a
point that here
survey, and
also
as per their
mostly
survey,
there is a
Because
fear of
46% of
force
youngsters who
for
belong
early
to
marriage
age
is not
bracket
leading them to a good
26 to
career.
46-year
So
old, they
this
don't
is
want
where
to
I
get
think
married because
women actually have
marriage
this
and
fear
kids come
that
with
they
some
don't want to
expenses. Earlier, there
lead
used to be
a
joint
marriage.
family to
At the
look
same
after
time,
those
they
expenses,
want to
but
grow in their
now
career.
couple have to bear those expenses individually. So because of this
yeah.
reason, many
in
youngsters don't want to it's not exactly like running away from responsibility, it's just that shifting responsibility from
I think it's
taking
more
care of
about
other
clarity
people
given
rather
into
than
the. I
yes.
think it's more about clarity given
Yeah,
to the
I
and
work
would like to
life.
say like
the marriage is not
as
lasting.
we
The
know
main
that
reason can be that
our
the
society is
working
totally based
profession
upon
of
our
the
economic conditions.
couples in a different places. As we can see the recent example of the STM, the working profession of the couples in a different places might also let's into the mm, into the that they
and
might be
friends,
get into the
Firstly, I would like to add
divorce
like
also,
the
because
economic condition of any society affects its social condition. So like economically, women are getting more opportunity, so they are
Mhm.
breaking the patriarchy, and this is the main effect on our system, like more stable.
Also,
Yeah,
yes,
Second
due to
one being
family system, earlier there
the
used to be social stigma around divorces, but now,
yes,
right
yes.
now these
but
things
also
doesn't
the
happen.
economic condition and the inflation is going up. So
People are
most of
and
the
openly
if you go to
accepting
metro
that
cities,
they
it's
are
as
going up.
divorced.
women
They
are
don't have
as
any
women
shame to
are
accept
earning a
it.
lot,
People
and
can't afford a
if
joint family in metros or in you can say the bigger cities. So there we can they are going for nuclear versions of family, and in that it's much unstable like that. Woman
And
is also
woman being
working and
a
man is also
woman
working.
being a
And friends in
independent and
early days,
earning
Your system
woman,
is also
if a
left out.
person is been his wife is been independent woman and working in a different place, and she doesn't want the child for a recent time and wants to work few more days, so the family pressure usually comes that there need to be a certain limit rules to be followed, so the marriage don't last such things, I think.
Yeah, I would also
I
like to
think
add a point by
as
saying that, like now when we have seen that women are being independent through women empowerment and different kind of things. Here, the woman doesn't want to get involved into marriage situation, as because when a woman is working, if she is single, she can work and without any pressure and any kind of burden. I'm not saying that marriage is the burden, but whereas it may hinder her work, because she at the same time she have to take care of her family and also the husband and also the children. Whereas when she is single, she can do her work with 100% efficiency without getting her energy wasted in other stuffs.
I think in the young couples, we often see that both of them are working, to live a good life in a metro city. At the same time, we see their work-life balances are not played well. So I think that's where a problem comes in, as well as people are not able to give enough time to the relationship. And I think that's where majority of the relations break up, because people
Yeah,
want
Also,
instant
As I said
yes,
gratification.
earlier,
yes,
like
I
economic
agree with
condition
Rohit.
affects us. So most
Being
in
a
the metro cities, we
both
are
person working
working
profession,
conditions, and
there
I
is a
think,
our
no
and
work-life balance is
most of
given
the
the
divorces,
priority.
and as a study was made, most of the divorces also come up mostly in the metro cities, and lesser on the
yeah.
countryside that we see upon.
Yeah, there's a stat like there's a lesser than 1% diversity in Bihar, and if you talk about the Maharashtra and metro cities, it is the more than 2.5%. That is so
Also,
dangerous.
most of the women these days are not stepping back to take divorces, mostly because now most of the women are earning, so they know they can take care of themselves as well as their kids. Earlier, this was not the case.
yeah,
There
again, see,
was
Shweta,
family, they
this
have to
has been
look after
great.
it.
Your economic independence will open the door
There
for
was a
social
dependence on
independence.
the husband only for income and
Yeah.
also that was one of the reasons divorces were much less also in previous days.
And
Yeah, a very
When
good
their
the
point
economic
point
by
I
independence,
Shweta
they
and
are
Rohit.
consider that the
choosing
most
the
of the
decisions
arranged marriage
more than
couples,
fear of.
after the marriage, both are working profession. There will be less feeling shared between each other, so that leads to the between the no bonding between between themselves, and that might be led to the marriage or
I
things like
think there is a case of social corruption as well. For example, one of my friends said about the SDM case recently. So we often see that there are some corruptions that happen in the interrelationships between the different marriages, and that was actually not much prevalent earlier. But as time continued, we can see these cases coming up more, and that actually, I think breaks the relationship in such a way that divorces appear so much.
I would also like to add a point by saying that earlier women did not take divorce because they were not independent. They were dependent on their
financially
husband for,
stable.
yeah, they were not financially stable, as because they were dependent very much on their husband. So they would like to think that if my husband leaves me, then what would I do? How would I earn? How would I feed my children? So now we have seen that as the women are being independent, so they don't have this fear of being financially unstable. So they are earning also, and they don't fear from any other kind of gender also that they will hamper their economic stability.
Earlier, India was
I
the
think
country where marriage has maximum probability to get work. But currently, this case is getting reduced, and at one side, it is worth thinking about or speaking about because people are running away from it. But on the other side, it is good that people are now choosing themselves rather than being in wrong association.
That is the basic structure. You
adding to
can see
what
what
Shweta
system
said,
relates about
if we
everyone.
see
The
from
another
both
point
the
I
So
think
long
is
they
the
perspective,
don't feel
patriotic
there has been a
mindset of
choice
the
paradox that are
families.
happening.
I think the
So
most of
people
the
have a lot
parents
of
wants their
choices, and often in terms of choosing one of the other choices, they feel that their choice is not good, and there's a lack of self-belief coupled with it, and that's another reason for why marriages destabilize at an early age.
the another thing is the patriotic mindset of the families where they will be telling that the woman can work after the marriage, but after she gets working and she don't give time to their families and their children, the family
yeah,
starts
or also
they
a new
tells that
Friends, I
adolescent
they,
think
is going to
we are
society
only,
as
I think
we
we
are
are only
transforming.
thinking from the female
they
perspective.
think that
We should also think from the male
she
perspective, as marriages are a both-way thing, right?
would like to add a point by saying that
there is not a
when
concern
a
for the
woman is
woman
being
only.
financially
I would
independent,
like to add
then we
like,
can say that she has a variety of
yeah, we
choices.
can't
If
blame
she
women
gets
for
into
all
a
the things
marriage and
like that.
she's
They are
not
getting
having,
independent. That's why
she's not being
there is no
satisfied from
relationship
with
and
others,
divorce rates.
like
We have to
emotionally or
see
other
the other
kind
side
of
of the
thing.
society
So then
also.
she can get away from it because she is independent and she can earn for herself. She don't need anything like other a
Actually,
woman need.
the
She's
Yeah,
society,
yeah.
independent. She don't need any financial. She just needs
Sometimes
emotional thing
financially
from the
independent
other
woman,
partner.
yeah.
I would like to
She
add a
need
Sagar.
emotional support
Sagar.
from the other partner, but if the partner is not providing it, so she can have a choice. She
That
can
is the thing,
take a
like the
divorce, and that's
financial
the thing.
independence add up, but we can't blame women for all the things. Like it's a society transformation. I would like to add up like it's we can't blame women for all the things like they are earning, that's why get divorce rates are gaining. A
Talking
transformation is going in society like if we know in the recent few years about 5 to 10 years the concept of self is much more prevalent. If it see in a parents generation they are more prevalent and cared about other family members or the other people of family, but if we look in
talking
our
from
generation
men's
they are more concerned about
perspective, yes,
self-centric approach like
I
about
agree with your point.
our
Talking from men's
mental health
perspective,
or
And
yes.
our
Talking from men's
mindset.
we can see
perspective,
that
We have
men
the
are
to
in
divert
considered
within
as
our division.
provider. So when they are not able to provide sufficiently, if they are earning less,
The
so in
self-centric
that
approach
case
will affect
Yeah,
the
yeah.
also
society, not
If
the
a
things
women.
woman
get
starts earning more than a
yes.
male, and if she start dominating in economically, and if being a male ego, it comes in a front, and the relationship never lasts, I think.
I think
We
these days
I would
many
like to add a
social
point
media
by saying
getting
this.
divorced
We are
and they are
seeing divorce
giving
as a bad
good
thing, but it
example
is
that
not a
how
bad thing.
things can
There
be
were
done
women that were,
mutually and
they were
move
getting
on in a great way
assaulted by
rather
their
than making
husband,
things
and they were
ugly.
not able to get divorced because they were not financially stable. So now they, as they are financially stable, they can take divorce anytime. And we people as a social thing take divorce the bad thing. But whereas a woman that is getting assaulted at home, it is a good thing for her, as she would be able to take divorce more, more bravely, as she is independent.
I think, friends, if
Yeah,
we
the
see
transformation is the
marriage
main thing.
as an
Like
institution,
means
it's a private
as Indian
institution.
economy is
At the
going
same
from
time, as you have discussed the various issues that are coming up, I think the right way of dealing with these solution problems is a solution of, I think talking to each other and better communication. At the same time, maybe taking counseling from a professional counselor so that these things can be dealt with. As what you have talked about patriarchy or maybe family issues, I think these always remain to a certain extent or other. And I think from a longer time, our parents, our forefathers have been dealing with it. At the same time, our grannies too. So I think these things can
Also,
be dealt with.
yes,
I
with
think
this
most of the
many
time the
times
woman
marriage
working is
don't
I
not
would
an
work.
like to
issue,
add up.
because
Yes.
in the urban or a rural, in a rural side, we can see that the women also working in a field with their husbands for the contribution for their family. In a metro city, most of the relationship never exists, because the mindset in a metro city is different when compared to the rural. In a rural, they both contribute for the family, and the relationship is good with their family, as well as they have maintained well. But in a metro city, they are independent, and they work in a different places. Most of the time they spend it in a place away from each other, so there is a
Yes.
no bonding between each other.
Regarding family
There is
system
a
I would
saying
point,
like
that
to add up
that
one more
goes
many
like
point.
times
a family
even
that eats together stays together. So if we see most of the
yes.
time, families don't even eat together, in the same dining table. So the concept, as
I would
I
like
think
to
resonated
highlight
from
one more.
there only.
I would like to highlight one more important point. Even till this date, in 21st era, dowry is still prevalent. So regarding that family system point, many times we see that family pressurizes or taunted, regarding dowry or some other thing, and this ruins relation of a particular couple who are going good. So here also family plays a crucial role. They should there. I mean, they should not do such kind of things.
Yeah, earlier there was a thing when people used to tell
Actually,
the
there's I would like to
father
add
of a
one third point
daughter,
also.
father of a woman, that
Like we
your girl is getting, yeah, older, and you're not getting married, as because she was not financially independent. She was like no, I will not say burden word, but she was like totally dependent on a father, and it was like creating some kind of thing, as because as she was like not earning thing. Now she is independent, so no one can raise question on like she being with the family as and not getting married, is because she's independent, and she doesn't is not a stable, not dependent on her father, and also providing economic support to the family as well.
I would like to add up one more point. Like as a society is getting from transformation, as we talk about economy, so we are getting from socialist to capitalist. So in the in society also from we are going from joint family to nuclear family. nuclear family. So there should be more education about the women in 21st century. Like if we take our one generation up in our parents' generation, so they are the older ones like our grandfather and grandmothers who handle situation when there is a conflict between parents. But if we look in the current scenario, like if we live in the nuclear family, there is no one to sort out the things when there is a conflict between the woman and the men. So there should be include a subject in my point of view, like in the when we are in college. So there's subjects like entrepreneurship and disaster management in current times to students who are more ready about prevalent about that. So it should be also added like a woman's role and their transformation and their needs and their rights in the 21st century. So it should be added in all the 3 years of curriculum in the colleges also, as well as the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th also, so that the males also know about and learn about and respect about the women rights.
Regarding
And
one
because the
case which
patriarchy is
Rohit
a big challenge, we
highlighted,
have
which is
one kid,
currently
one
in
kid,
news,
like
I
right now.
think parents are also somewhere in fault where they don't identify their kids' ability to study or to make their career. They just rush for the marriage, and while doing so, sometimes, I mean, marriage completely depends upon their
Okay.
fortune. Sometimes it goes good, sometimes it doesn't go in the right direction. So that's what happened recently, the case which Rohit has highlighted. So I think here also parents has very crucial role when it comes to family system to not pressurize or force their kids to be into some wrong association.
I think at the same time, it is also about the
Yeah, we should also
morals and
teach our
ethics, personal standards that are that go by. So I think these
Adding point
are
to
to be put at the
yeah.
highest level in any relationship, so that it goes on. And the same goes for marriage as well.
Adding point, I like to add that the
I would
most
like to
of the
add up a
marriage
point
is
like
in
to
a rural
challenge the
area, where the
patriarchy.
woman at the age at the smaller age, like after 18, 20, she gets married to, and for a person who has been elder for a 5 or 6 years, and most of the time the family never lasts for a certain period because of the age gap also. Yeah, I think.
I would like to add up one more point, like to challenge or tackle with the patriarchy, we should teach our sons or the male society to accept the क्या बोलते हैं, sorry, to accept the
Yes, in
differently,
continuation
like
with this, they should identify their ability at what maximum level they can reach, and then I mean analyze what exact kind of person they need, rather than going with that peer pressure that my friends are getting married, so we should also go that, or my family is saying this, so I should take this decision. It shouldn't be that case.
Yeah.
I think that's where some sort of counseling also comes in. So I think
most of the society is
many
going
NGOs are
with
also there,
counseling
which
only.
provide which actually provide counseling based on these, what we want, people want, and
Agreeing
like
with this.
there are actually paid sessions also for these counselings.
Yes.
I
In
think
Life
someone
India,
support should be
wants it,
added as a
they
subject
should
in
take
my
it.
counseling
point
is
of view.
not yet that much prevalent, so people need to be more aware with it, because many times several people give their own opinions and things just gets more ugly rather than sorting out in a very good way and moving on in a constructive way. So yes, this
In my point of view, life management should be taught in schools and colleges, like it is also a challenge, like we doesn't know about everything from the start, and after the clashes is going on, then we go for counseling and all. So from there should the mold in the society, like students taught about the things.
I think if you see,
We
our
as we
society
can
has
see.
changed more from agrarian society to what we are right now, a technology-based society. And so has the concept of marriage changed over time as well. Even though the basic thing remains the same, but the people have evolved. And I think so as the idea of getting married or doing marriage and staying in marriage should also evolve at the same time. But keeping in mind that the core sentiment of marriage is to stay together, lead a healthy lifestyle, and to populate and raise a new generation.
I like to add a point that compared to the other countries, the relationship of family status is much better in India. In a different countries like America, the family status is not good, as they shift their husband wife many times as the dowry happens. The main thing that lasts in the relationship in India is because the mythological stories and the roots which we have been following. So we can say that we should give knowledge related to mythological like Ramayana also for teaching in the school days, which leads to the education related to the that how to maintain a family and to last the relationship.
So if everybody is done, we can be stop it here. If
Yeah,
you
I believe everyone.
okay.
So
Okay, so it was really a good session. I think Lakshmi today has joined, but she didn't participate. She was rejoining again and again. Maybe she might have some issue, but whatever is the reason, it was a good discussion and good
I think